At this point in my life, because of my generally busy life and keeping up with games for the channel, it is very hard for a game to sneak up on me. Fuga Melodies of Steel 3 snuck up on me though, in part because of the many great games that I've been playing recently and my previously mentioned busy life. Does that mean I'm less excited for it than other games I've been playing? Heck no! Fuga Melodies of Steel 3 is the continuation and culmination of one of my favorite under-the-radar RPG series of recent memory. It seems to me this final game in the trilogy is prepared to bring just as much heart, strategic battles, and twists as the previous two games, and I'm here for it. Fuga Melodies of Steel 3 is a turn-based RPG developed and published by CyberConnect 2. It is the third and final game in the spin-off Fuga games from the main series Little Tail Bronx. One major change for this entry is the previous director Yoan Gertot has left CyberConnect 2, and Fuga 2 co-director Hiroto Nizato will be stepping up as the solo director for this game. Due to the final nature of this project, the developers decided to make the game their biggest yet. Fuga Melodies of Steel 3 is, according to CyberConnect 2, twice as long with twice as many illustrations as the previous games in the series. The game will be released worldwide for PC, Switch, Xbox One, Xbox Series, PS4, and PS5 on May 29th, 2025. Unlike its predecessor though, it seems that Fuga 3 will not be released on Microsoft's Game Pass. How will the children get through a third major conflict, and will this be the time I'm actually forced to sacrifice one of them to get the rest through? No, the answer to that last part is no. They made it all this far, they're all making it home. Unless the story has something else to say. It's deja vu all over again. The Burman Empire has sent an army to march on the nation of Gasco. This time though, the children have another problem. Malt has gone missing. The others must find and rescue him, and thankfully the Tyrannus is basically a boomerang in tank form because it's back again and also like a boomerang can fly through the air now. This new ability allows the crew to take the fight to places they've never been before. The sky. And also the Burman Empire itself to strike at the Kaiser and the source of their woes and worries. They'll have to get through the fearsome Crimson Knights to accomplish their goal, but at this point the kiddos have stared down so many challengers and dismissed them all. Their luck has got to hold for one last adventure, right? The story has always been a sweet and satisfying part of the Fuga game formula. Given the emphasis on this being a longer game, then it would make sense for them to go for a grander vision, but I'm not sure if that's the case. The story does have intrigue in the mission to rescue Malt, but instead of expanding the cast, they've actually decreased the main crew, with Vanilla returning only in a supporting role. Could this lead to more focused storytelling that allows the rest of the cast to shine with Malt not at the head of things this time? Sure, so it'll be interesting to see how the game handles that. There also does seem to be more emphasis on the antagonists and their personal relationship with the kiddos, especially Malt and May, in this particular game. The game also has a new mechanic called the Akasha Panel that I think will be of particular importance for the story. You see, Fuga Melodies of Steel 3, like its predecessors, has multiple endings, but whereas the previous games pretty much varied by if you kept all the kids alive versus not, Fuga 3 has more than that. There are 8 different endings. 1 normal, 1 true, 5 bad, and 1 special you can only get once you've gotten every other ending. And there are also various secret events you can trigger, and in order for you to more easily get to those, the Akasha Panel allows you to revisit past events and battles. I do love me a game that makes getting multiple endings easier with mechanics like this, and I'm curious about how different these various endings will be. The gameplay loop is retained from the previous Fuga games. You will be traveling in your tank with various tracks to go down. Each track has battles, opportunities to collect materials, healing spots, and rest areas to do exploring, upgrading, and bonding. As before, you'll have more difficult paths you can take that test your battle skills while also giving greater rewards than the safe paths. There are 2 new additions to these events you can find on the paths. The first are transmission waypoints where you can connect with assist characters and fulfill requests for them. And the second are power spots, which give you unique Tyrannus skills such as teleporting to a waypoint like you could in Fuga 2, among others. This part of the game I think has the fewest changes for Fuga 3, which makes sense. The overall structure of the game has always been in a good place, and the changes I'm really excited for mostly come about in the battles. As we've seen in the previous games, in combat you'll have 3 gunners with 1 character supporting them behind that you can swap with a cooldown. Each character has a type between fast and precise blue gunners, middle of the road yellow, and heavy hitting red. They can then target enemy weaknesses to break them and bring them down. This time around, it is hitting those enemies' weaknesses that increase your combo damage and build up a meter that allows you to launch a burst attack on your foes. As a consequence of Malt not being around, the rest of the characters also need to step up and take on leadership roles, which is why every character in the cast now has a leadership skill that can activate randomly throughout battle, much like Malt had in Fuga 2. In addition to the burst gauge, there is another gauge called the assist gauge that means you can bring in past allies and friends to help out with your battle. You can grow your bonds with them and learn more about their pasts as well, although I'm not exactly sure how yet. I'm hoping that the game explains that pretty early on, because at the moment, the trailers have been sparse on details. Despite these tools at our disposal, there may still be times when desperation takes hold of our kiddos, and it's in those moments where they may turn to the last resort. The Soul Cannon. Yes, this time around, when an ally turns to despair, they may eventually feel compelled to enter the Soul Cannon of their own volition to save their friends. What if the Soul Cannon is not enough? In those cases, the desperate option is the Mega Soul Cannon, which sacrifices not just one child, but all the children in order to defeat the foe before them in one hit. I'm not sure I like the devaluing of the regular Soul Cannon, which was horrifying enough on its own, but to think there are foes that require the life force of all the children to defeat makes me certain the game will try to send us down that path at one point or another. Well, the best way to avoid that fate is to make sure we are as prepared as we can be, and I am looking forward to all the strategic battles that we have and the various foes that we're going to face. I am ready to take them down with all the strategies I've learned over the last couple games, and Fuga 3's bosses have got nothing on me. In previous games in the series, our focus was on upgrading the Tyrannus' inner facilities, but this time around we can also upgrade the Tyrannus' combat and other abilities via the Omega Terminal. The new currency VP will be used to purchase upgrades as well as buying items, some of which will be rare or not purchasable from other shops. I do believe that the regular intermissions with their character bonding and general upgrading will remain, with few if any changes, since I've not seen or read anything contrary to that assumption. Presentation-wise, the series continues its trend of lovingly created designs and world building, plus some great illustrations. Otherwise though, the budget continues to show, and though the direction has always been creative in making up for those deficiencies with a longer game, I'm curious if more of the gaps may show by the end. Overall though, I'm liking what I'm seeing, and I'll continue to highlight the UI having a lot of creativity and solid information presentation, especially when it comes to battle. The music predictably sounds great too, and while the voice acting remains Japanese only, I think that some of the new cast members, especially on the villain side of things, are putting in good work. The biggest change for the game that I saw is in the user experience, and it is the new fast mode difficulty. This mode pretty much allows you to travel along one-shot bosses and enjoy the story without all the combat or worry. Obviously, this is not a path that I will be going down myself, nor do I think many players will either, given that I expect most, if not all players, will have played through the first two games without this feature since it didn't exist when those games released. That being said, I'm all for more people getting to play the games, and CyberConnect 2 are going to make updates for Fuga 1 and Fuga 2 to include fast mode in those games as well, so kudos to them for making the effort. It just makes sense to have that option in all three games. Fuga 3 has a lot to offer, especially fans of the original two games. Also, with the whole trilogy out, it's a great time for people to join the bandwagon. Will they? We shall see, but either way, I look forward to seeing what CyberConnect 2 has put together for this finale and what they may be up to next. There's been talks about the .hack games coming back in various forms, as well as the potential to revisit older games in the Little Tail Bronx series, and the better the Fuga games do, the more likely other projects we'll like can come about. So let's spread the word. Thank you for watching. Before you leave on your next adventure, if you would give this video a like and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking about for Fuga Melodies of Steel 3 or future CyberConnect 2 projects, and I hope to see you all in the next video. As always, remember to have a great day and happy gaming.